Parents, hey there. Come in here and let's talk for a minute. I know that back to school season can feel overwhelming, especially when it comes to reading. So you get all these reports, letters, and expectations, but what does it actually mean for your child's growth? Glad you asked. Today I'm breaking down the K 2 literacy must knows, and I'm giving you 8 powerful questions, maybe a little more than 8, because I like y'all. Powerful questions to ask your child's teacher this year. Hey, I'm Tamia Peterson. I'm the founder of The Savvy Speducator and also the author of Maya's Magic Methods. I've spent over 10 years helping young children, young readers, especially those who struggle with reading, gain the skills and confidence to thrive. In fact, more than 85% of my students make 1 to 2 years of reading growth after targeted intervention. And I believe wholeheartedly your child can too with the right support. So let's get started. First, before I give you those questions to ask your child's teacher or the person who supports them with reading, I want to start with the building blocks of reading that your child will encounter in K 2. So these aren't just buzzwords. They're the foundation of strong readers. And grab a pen and pencil. You might need it, or don't get overwhelmed, okay? Not or, but and don't get overwhelmed because it's a lot of reading blocks that cover inside of the literacy instruction. But in order for you to understand the questions to ask, I want you to be knowledgeable of what those foundational skills are. So first we have phonics. And phonics is when your child's learning the letter sound relationships and how to sound out words and even the tricky exceptions, because it gets tricky, right? So that's phonics. Next is decoding. They're going to apply those letter sound patterns to actually read words. So once they understand the relationship, they're going to start reading those words. That's basically decoding. Vocabulary, of course, is understanding words so that reading actually makes sense. Okay, so that's phonics, decoding, and vocabulary. Next, we have fluency. And fluency is reading with speed, accuracy, and expression. Okay, so how fast, accurate, and appropriate is their tone when they're reading. That's fluency. Next is phonological and phonemic awareness. That's hearing and manipulating the sounds in words, like clapping syllables or changing the first sound in cat to make bat, right? Being able to understand how sounds are manipulated or changed. And then we have comprehension, okay? Stick with me. Comprehension, that's the ultimate goal of our readers, right? And that's being able to understand and make meaning from actually what's being read. So these 6 areas work together in their little brains. So when one is weak, the reading progress slows down, right? So when we begin to strengthen these areas, all kids grow into confident readers. And that's what they're working on in their class. Think of how amazing it will be if that is also carried over to home, because your child's teacher and their reading support person cannot do it alone. We want to work as a team. So here's the fun part. Building a partnership with your child's teacher. Don't feel like you need to ask all these questions at once, okay? Like I said, I'm going to give you 8, maybe a little more than 8, because I like y'all. Pick what matters most and use them as conversation starters, okay? So before I go into the questions, I'm going to tell you what these particular questions are for. So we're going to start with questions about reading instruction. So here are 2 questions you can ask your child's teacher about reading instruction. So you can ask, what reading skill is my child expected to learn this year? And then you can ask, how often does my child get small group or individualized support? Now, individualized support can be tricky. If your student is really having a hard time, that will look different versus a student who may need an extra push. So being very clear about what that looks like for your child is a perfect question to ask your reading teacher or reading support staff. Questions about progress monitoring. So that's how often do you know if my child is on track? So which systems are they in place to support tracking growth? You could also ask, can you walk me through their reading data? Okay, that's the honest, I need to know question, right? And a third question you can ask, How often do you check reading growth? And how do you use that data to guide your instruction? Honest and fair question. Yes, there are a lot of students, but I need to know what my child is working on and how you're helping them. That is the job of the teacher, right? So, questions for at-home support. So we need you just like you need us, and we need each other to help the student, right? To be the best student that they can be. So at-home support is critical. So you can ask the question like, how can I boost my child's confidence if reading feels hard? What should I look for when my child is reading at home? You're asking to give some perspective, right? If you know your child is not raising their hand as often, maybe they're not participating, how can I build their confidence around reading? Maybe it's more reading at home. Maybe it looks like reading for fun, not just, because they have a homework assignment, making it fun. Maybe they'll help you cook in the kitchen. They need to read the directions, or, reading, maps. That's not really something in the front of them all the time because it's so technology based. But maybe reading how we gonna get to the beach, reading a map. So let's think about questions to build partnerships. What's the best way to stay in touch if I have concerns? And if my child falls behind, what interventions are available? Powerful questions to ask, because you want to also be in communication to support and be a resource for your child's teacher and build the tribe around this student. So you see how easy that is? These questions help you go beyond the standard report card and into real meaningful partnership with your child's teacher. And don't forget, you can always pause and come back. But in addition to pausing and come back and subscribing to this video, I want you to remember that your child's first and most important teacher is you, okay? With the right questions, the right support, and a strong homeschool connection, your child can thrive this year, okay? Working together, partnerships, okay? But if you like additional support, I invite you to download your back to school literacy packet. I'm going to put the link down below, and I want you to subscribe, like this video, and share with another parent who's ready to rescue reading this school year. Okay? So here's to a year of confident, joyful readers, and I'll see you in the next video.